So let's go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room, that is DJT. So it seems like a lot of you guys, there's mixed opinions about my video yesterday. Some of you guys agreed, some of you guys didn't agree. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter, right? I shared a very risky trade idea, and that was that DJT for the past few weeks. First off, I'm not pro DJT, right? When this thing was pumping up to highs of $80, I was very open with, hey, this is a very overbought, overhyped up stock. And once that hype fades, I wouldn't be surprised if it crashes, right? It showed a lot of signs of a pump and dump. People even then got upset of like, hey, I'm encouraging people to lock in profits. Oh no, it's the end of the world, right? Nonetheless, it ended up correcting itself. It went on like almost a 2-week bender of just losing value. 70% is what it lost. Imagine that. Nearly 3/4 of the market cap valuation wiped after it peaked at highs of nearly $80 per share. But I've been paying attention to what influences this specific stock. And it's Trump, right? It's not the social media application that it pretends to be. It's Trump and Trump's performance, not only in trial, but in that presidential election. And tomorrow, he's supposed to go into this hush trial. And right now, they're picking the jury. And as that gets announced, if he shows any signs of winning that case or losing that case, I think will determine the success or the failure of DJT. And that's exactly what I shared in yesterday's video. So guess what? After it being down 70%, it pushed up 12 to, I think at the peak, 14%. Nonetheless, I still think this is a crap company. I think that if you hold this position overnight, it's a super, super risky stock that ultimately, again, I do believe it is all based off of hype and overvaluation. But it doesn't mean that it can't continue to rally, right? This is why you have to be very careful. Yes, it has sold off. Yes, it's testing EMA. And if we do break above, yeah, maybe we could enter a nice little uptrend. Great. But please understand, just because I've talked about it and just because I took a trade on it, I mean, I traded it today live with my LPP team and they saw me enter. I mean, it was ideal. It pulled on back. It tested support. I got in. It broke above EMA. I added more to my position size, and then it jumped back up. I ended up locking in profits at previous resistance, ended up pushing up beyond that, right? I think it pushed up about 12%. It pulled on back, tested support, traded sideways. I jumped back in, became overbought. Now I've locked in profits and now waiting to enter my short position. So I plan to short this if I get confirmation of this thing actually pulling on back. I do not care about this stock. That's what I want to make very, very clear. This stock is a day trade to me. And although I do know that, yes, it can recover just like it can crash, I understand that it's all based off of the hype behind Trump. And if you get emotional about this, if you begin to trade with this with too much size, just please don't, right? I can't, I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. It's a super risky stock. And if you do not know what you're doing, if your risk management is not A1, if your take profits is not A1, then this is not a stock that you probably want to trade, right? I've been very open with you guys. I talked about DJT when it was very overvalued. I'm now talking about it when it's become very oversold and lost 70%. I love talking about both sides. I love talking about the risk because there's no reason to avoid it because it's inevitable, right? Our job is not to avoid risk. Our job is to manage it. And I like to talk about the good and the bad. But just wanted to follow up. Yep, it's up 12% on the day. Hopefully you do your part in locking in profits when it makes sense to you. Ignore what everyone else is saying. Focus on yourself and your future self. What do you think is best? Does it make sense to hold? Does it make sense to lock in profits? Do what makes most sense to you. If someone else is saying, hey, I think you should hold, this thing could go up to $50 per share. Sure, it can. But what if it drops down to 15? Are they going to cover your loss? No. So make a decision for your future self, right? Never be greedy enough to just completely lock it in. But overall, again, really enjoyed today's live trading session. Overall, NASDAQ market, yeah, slightly in the red. But if you look at this on the 4-hour time frame, it's not doing anything new, pretty much just trading sideways. And we are waiting to see, is the market going to recover or is the market going to sell off? That's exactly what I'm waiting to see so I can decide to either go short or go long with the overall market. But again, I trade live every single morning, just like I did with DJT. If you feel lost as a complete beginner because you don't know where to buy or where to sell, I'm not going to tell you during these live sessions, but you can see me. You can see me buy. You can see me sell. That's exactly what they got to see today. And I explain my thought process. That's the most important thing. The goal is not for you to copy what it is that I'm doing. That's never the goal. Think about it back in school. You never learned anything from copying, but imagine as you are looking and watching someone complete a test, they're explaining to you how they are getting that answer. And that's exactly what I try to do within every live trading session. I explain my thought process behind every good and bad trade that I take. You get to see it all. It's a one-time payment, lifetime access, especially if you're a complete beginner and you feel lost in, again, a vast market of what it offers, but also the do's and the don'ts. I would love to work with you on a closer basis. Second link in the description down below. It's 50% off right now for a limited time. Make sure you sign up, and I'll see you tomorrow at Market Open. Hopefully I earned your thumbs up. Please consider subscribing. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, team.